Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right. So today we have a stock FGI, 5 million shares traded up 45%, $6.92. Went up there to around 10 and has given back about $4 off the top. Right now it's looking like our largest mover. So today is going to be a temperature test day where we need to figure out is there a new topic or is it the same from last week, which was AI and batteries. All right. I did take a trade on Friday and it gave me a pretty good winner on VHC. Let's see if it calculated yet. Yeah. All right. So VHC right here. It's my trading journal. So I got in 65 shares. I rode from 23.84 up to 25.81. Of course, you know, my goal is 30 cents, but I made $1.97 off of that one. Here was the entry exit. I entered right on in here, exited into the top side of this move. You can see how the money did. So I got in and I slightly went red at first, like $4 or $5 red. $3 red, and then it did a little bit of dip, which kind of scared me down here, $20 red, and then it popped back up, and we got the rest of the move there, all the way up to well, I had what 192 at the top side, but that's not where I actually sold. I was moving my stop up with this thing, and so when it dropped, I was like, okay, 121, went back up a little bit, and I was taking profit in here too, so I just wasn't holding the whole thing. And then I ended up selling all the way out right here. So at the top side with the position up 192, but I ended up kind of just stopping out as it was coming back down. And you can see the rest of the chart here. It was probably a good decision to go ahead and get out of there because it returned back to where I entered. So that was Friday. Okay. So yeah. And this is the month right here. So Wednesdays has been the worst day of the month for me. And then on this Friday, I made up what I lost last Friday. So here's what it is. And now we're into a new week on the 20th. Let's go ahead and see if we can find a topic. So Tesla, Netflix earnings, CPI delayed release the week ahead. What to watch for potential relief amid U.S.-China tensions and looming oil glut. Okay, why the stock market's boom could become America's biggest risk. Projected mortgage interest rates for the next 5 years. Trump cuts off U.S. aid to Colombia. Calls Petro a drug leader. China to push high tech in a 5-year plan as tensions with U.S. heat up. NVIDIA big tech customers may be its biggest competitive threat. Australia pitches to be Trump's fix for China rare earth curbs. China says economy is on track despite weakest growth in a year. Asian shares advance with Japan's benchmark surging after ruling party forms new coalition French bond futures slip after snap S&P downgrade. China reports its economy expanded at a 4.8% annual rate in July and September through September quarter. Oil edges lower as investors look ahead to U.S.-China trade talks. Gold holds drop as traders focus on the trade. Global banks bet billions on India deals amid U.S. credit jitters. Should U.S. investors be leaning into Chinese tech? This has been the biggest surprise for food companies. IRS released tech. All right, so let me reload this. It says media couldn't be loaded. So out here is no real. I don't see any real standout players with news out here. So kind of looking around. I don't know why it's saying media can't be loaded. Sir, I mean, they may be having server issues on Yahoo. I don't know. Refresh one more time. We usually don't have any issues with Yahoo. Okay, yeah. Something's up with the servers and everything. Let me go look at the user reports indicate issues at Amazon Web Services, AWS. So, okay, seeing server issues, got to take that into account. We can look at the top ones that have been experiencing some turmoil: Reddit, Snapchat, Ring, Chime, Amazon Services, Amazon, Blink Security, experiencing some issues. Starbucks, we don't care about. FanDuel, Roblox, all of these have experienced recent turmoil here coming into Monday morning. Zoom, Venmo. So if you're having issues with your apps, it's probably not just you. You know, AT&T, T-Mobile, YouTube had a little bit. Okay, so that's good to take note of, that there are some server issues out there. I see one popping up called Sint, S-I-N-T. S-I-N-T. Let's go and see what it's got going on. Went up to a high of 550. Looks like it has a little bit of catalyst on today. The catalyst is Sint TX Technologies received FDA clearance for a synaptic foot and ankle implant system. Okay, foot and ankle osteotomy wedge system into the foot and ankle. So I don't know what that actually means. It's up 14% now. So it was up quite a bit to pop on the scans, but now it's only up 14%. We see a little bit, and since this is the most moving one right now, let's go ahead and see what kind of structures we can find here. Let's go look at the daily chart too. Okay. So over here on the, actually, I don't know if I switched it over. You might just be saying, yeah, let me switch over to the daily chart. Where is it? There it is. All right, so that's the daily chart. You can see big pops and drops out there. It went up to 550, just about. Closed at 396, went up to about 550 up here. We do have some previous marks, but I'm gonna go ahead and clear those. Actually, I'm not gonna clear them. I'm just gonna rename them because they are on the peaks. Peak daily level instead of possible daily level. Then we have another one up here at 682. So we'll duplicate, drag that down to this peak, 680. Okay. So we pretty much got them marked up that possible. Let me edit that to peak daily. Right, and we're just looking over here. I was trying to see if it was going to form a structure here, but it looks like it's breaking out a little bit of that. So now we'll see if it continues to respect those levels. It's only up 22% with that move. So if it does fail back down here to be going back towards 10%, which is going to fall off of a lot of people's scans. All right, let me go and look at where Scent is from. I mean, usually beginning of the week, Catalyst leads the way, but this Catalyst is kind of weak. So just trying to see, is this going to be the new topic, foot and ankle? Doesn't seem like that would be something that people would just continue to ride. What could? All right, so it says Cent TX Technologies Inc., an advanced ceramics company, engages in the research, development, and commercialization of medical devices manufactured with silicon nitride for biomedical, technical, and anti-pathogenic applications in the United States. The company offers solid and porous nitrite powder, and silicon nitride coating products, as well as silicon nitride composite materials, polyether, pleather, ether, I don't know, polyether, whatever. And that word, the company was formerly known as Medica Corporation. It's out of Salt Lake City, Utah, and it was incorporated in 1996. So we saw a little bit of structure, but we kind of like to see that structure build a little bit more. Now it's headed back towards like 10%. So expecting that volume to go somewhere else. Point of control right now is 476. And on the 5 and 15 minute is 478 and 481s. So all of them below $5. Ooh, we got this one right here. So the first thing I start off with is drawing the possible ideas on a stock. So all of them, all of the ones that I can see drawing, all of the ideas for trends, all of the ideas for reversals, all of them. And then from there, see where the majority of trading has happened and see what the reaction is with all of these ideas. Like if it reacts up, is it going to get slammed off this 475? Now it's back under 10%. Let's go back out to FGI. This one hasn't really given us much structure. Kind of went flat in here. Big wall looking like up here is 740s. 5 million shares traded on it. And no catalyst on this morning either. Yep. Cent just breaking on down. It's got about 3 million shares to catch up with the FGI. FGI over here in the coil. Previous days point of control was around this level at 680s. But with no catalyst, I don't know what let's go look at what FGI is. See why it would continue up. All right, so FGI is FGI Industries supplies bath and kitchen products, retail, wholesale, commercial, and specialty channel customers in the United States, Canada, Europe, and internationally. The company offers sanitary ware products such as toilet sinks, pedestals, and toilet seats, wood and would substitute furniture for bathrooms, including vanities, mirrors, laundry, medicine cabinets, and other storage systems under the Foremost brand name. It also provides shower related products, which include shower walls, doors, and basins under the Craft and Main Jet Coat brand names, and customer kitchen cabinetry and other accessory items under the Covered Bridge Cabinetry and Craft Mind brand names. Okay, so kind of like home apparel type deal. Incorporated in 2021 and is a subsidiary of Foremost Groups Limited. So that is probably not something I'm going to be looking to trade. You know, not no. No, I'm good. All right, so this one came on down. We're going to see if people continue to trade this one downward. Only up 7%. So this is the best that we see right now. It's telling me just to chill. Chill out. Good morning, Andre B. So thing that was moving the most was SINT, and it's a definitely a weaker stock. We're waiting on some real strength to come in. FGI is a cabinetry or a house apparel type stock, so I don't think it's going to be anything great. And actually, let me notate that. So it is a home decor. guess you could call it home decor. Says furnishing, fixtures, and appliances. That's what, okay, let me put that in there. Furnishing, fixtures, and appliances. So I can remember not to trade it. You held onto some DVLT, made money, but wanted to keep it on the radar. What is DVLT? Let's see. Okay, so Data Vault AI Inc., a data sciences technology company, owns and operates data management platforms for by supercomputing capabilities in North America, Asia Pacific, Europe, and internationally. The company offers data technology and software solutions that enable customers to thrive in the evolving landscape of data ownership, privacy, and security through high performance computing infrastructure and proprietary software. In addition, it also provides registration, data analytics, and lead management services for live events, offering cutting edge solutions and unparalleled customer support to clients in the trade. Association, corporate, and government event markets. The company was formerly known as WISA Technologies Inc. and changed its name to Data Vault AI Inc. In February 2025. Data Vault AI was incorporated in 2010 and headquartered in Beaverton, Oregon. Okay. Scent. What you got out here, Scent? So we got a couple of ideas of this already kind of tested a little bit. This one down here is kind of getting out of range, but we'll see. It has slowed down in volume for sure, only with 2 million shares traded on it. And to continue to break down, it would need to get under 4 basically. But right now it's sitting on the ATR high. Up only 12%. Definitely some desperation on this one. Yeah, I remember Whistle. Um, I forgot what year that was, but I think Whistle was one of those that had really, really ripped. Um, and I didn't know they did a name change. They're always doing something slick. DBLT. Look at their daily chart. All right, so looking back, yeah, it has had quite a bit of a rundown. Went down to 25 cents and now it's at 208. So somewhere in here. But it's one of those longer term plays because it is not a day trader today. Right. Okay, so let's go ahead and mark up the next idea here as it continues to move. Where's my marker? So now it had this bottom uptrend and now it's got something like that, but that may be a little steep. I don't know. Maybe a little steep right there. I'm gonna let it do its thing. See if we can find any uptrends. Okay, so now we do have a little bit of an uptrend. We'll see where it starts to respect. This one may become the leader on the day if people don't read. So we'll see if this is an irrational day in the small caps or a rational day. So run into that last level there. Break out of this level is around, maybe around the 450s, but we'll see what it wants to do. It's kind of got a long ways to go for a stock this price. One of the things that I'm looking for is something that's over $5 that can give me 30 cents easily. We look at these candles. This one went from 413 up here to 435. So one of the biggest candles is 30 cents. Good morning, Donnell. We're out here gauging the temperature of the market, looking for a topic change. We saw that there are server issues on the day. We went out to Down Detector and looked around at the servers. AWS, one of the biggest servers, servicing websites and applications alike, is facing some issues. So just kind of taking our time here on Monday, letting those that will be cooked be cooked. Got this bottom down here around 421. Is this a new idea? I'm not sure. At 438 here. Something else will probably be joining soon. And FGI going on down the furnishings and fixtures, appliances. One that we were like, nah, we're good. Monday morning, we need a little bit more power in that catalyst. Okay, opening up a little bit lower. So maybe that wasn't the best idea. Coming down here to the main uptrend here. Waiting to see if it's anything else. If it's anything I'm missing, definitely drop it into the chat, because looking for low floats, looking for things over $5, preferably. The cheaper, the worse off. The less range, the worse off. So popped all the way back up there, but you got to feel this gap now, 430 down here. At this point, this one is too far away, so I'm going to remove this. Go ahead and throw that disclaimer up there. I know I forget a lot, but yeah. Copy trading and all that stuff is probably not the best. Best to go on your own strategy, you know. Definitely have a strategy or have a basis for a strategy before you do any of this, because all these small caps are like you're trying to take it's almost like there's a hammer or a nail and a piece of wood, and you're trying to take profit before the nail hits the piece of wood, right? It's like but you got to find the hammer in motion to the nail and then take profit before the strike actually completes. See if Yahoo's acting right now. Nope. Still issues. Andre called out REPL. 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 What you got going on over here, big boy? All right, so it's $8.17. $8 or my bad, $8.20, up 82% with 15 million shares traded. We can see it started from down here at 456 and got up here. It has 15 million shares traded on it. Replimune announces FDA acceptance of BLA resubmission of RP1 for the treatment of advanced melanoma. The FDA accepts Replimune resubmission. Okay, all right. Let's go look into Replimune, see what they got going on over here. What you guys got going on over here? Okay, Replimune, we got Replimune Group Inc., a clinical stage biotechnology company, focuses on the development and commercialization of oncolytic immunotherapies to treat cancer. The company's proprietary immunotherapy product candidates are designed and intended to activate the immune system against cancer. Its lead product candidate, RP1, a selectively replicating version of HSV1 that expresses this thing in human for a range of solid tumors. The company is also developing RP2 that express an anti-CTLA 4 antibody-like protein to block the inhibition of immune responses otherwise caused by CTLA4, and RP3, which express immune activating proteins that stimulate T cells. Replimune Group was founded in 2015 and is headquartered in Woburn, Massachusetts. Okay, so we can see REPL making a little move there. Let's go look at the daily chart on this one. Look, I looked over here. I already got a note over here. It says right here, class action fraud on securities between November 22nd and what does the rest of this say? November 22nd and July 21st. So they have had some fraud in this one. So be careful. I took this, I don't even know when I created this note. Maybe on this day when it gapped up here on the 7/30th of 2025. So yeah, definitely be careful with those ones. They've had those lawsuits. Class action, and they had a lawsuit for fraud. So definitely be careful. And looks like they're a higher float. Donnell pointed out. Let me go look at their float here. Floats. Yeah. So over here it says 49.98 in the float. Ooh, look at that institutional holding. Big companies. That's a lot of, I don't know what they're holding that much for, but that is way more than insiders. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. But it is the most bullish, well, since it's not a low float, it is bullish looking. I don't know if it's the most bullish one in the pre-market, but yeah. That fraud though, I don't know, man. So let's see, the top side of this was 894. That's why I like having those notes out there so I can look back real quick and be like, oh, I've seen this one before. They had a lawsuit against them. But if you were just coming in fresh this morning and not knowing that previous information, you might just hop on board. Not saying it can't go up anymore, but it's definitely on that and it's in a wide open gap too, actually. So we look back over here, it's in this gap. So we got gap here and then all the way up to 12 something, just trading in this gap. 890, so not even to the midpoint of that gap yet. This is the lower gap, lower daily gap. We got the higher daily gap. Okay, and let me activate this. So about $8, and then this one activate. Got about 11.57. Okay. So there we are. Pretty much looked over that one. A little bit of fraud on it. A little bit of fraud on it. A lot of these are just not really catching the eyes of many traders because first of all, it's the beginning of the week, and we know catalyst at the beginning of the week is pretty much the majority of the edges here. SINT continues to hold up this uptrend is broken away, so this one's out of range. Feel that. We have this last one that it hasn't decided to whether it's going to drop down here to 4 or what. That'll be a 30-cent drop if it does do that. And it's got the point of control, or not the point of control, the ATR high right there, and the point of control up here at 476. A lot of volume has been traded in this level though. So, I mean, but the only downsides to it is it's only up 9%, right? It's like, yeah, it looks like it can just boom, but only being up 9%, the chances of it going back up, it just drug that point of control down there. So it was up here, it just drug it down. Yeah, that 9% is crazy. Breakdown, so it's got 430 and then 425, which is not that far at all for it to break down. But to the upside, it's got what, 440. What's ATR? ATR on this one closed at 41 cents on Friday. It's only got 2 million shares. FGI went on down. Man, come on. REPL came on down. So this is the lower gap at the $8 that it's headed back to. Got a lot of room to go down in here though. Go ahead and remove this one. It's out of zone, out of range. The value level is up here to 493, but for it to travel that distance, that's a long way to go. But it did get out of this previous downtrend and just holding flat here, but it hasn't made any decisions to go either way. Continues to drag that point of control down though. 425 breakdown. This point, it's all the way down here to 395. I mean, if it starts dropping, I'm just gonna be like, well, that may not be the best looker. But yeah, we're looking good on the month. I ended up making back quite a bit on Friday, so healed my account a little bit. Wednesdays, man, I might just stay out on Wednesdays because Wednesdays have been the death of me this whole month, for real. I could have been up way more than this, but yeah, Wednesdays have been frying me. Well, the other days, Mondays, Tuesdays, and things like that, they've been pretty good, except for this one. I realize like when I have a stock or when I have an idea that just is kind of like on the borderline, like it's like, is this good? Or, you know, is structure here? Those are the two first questions. Is this good? And is structure here? Is there any kind of structure built out? Because if it's not, I'm probably gonna get cooked. All right, so SINT breaking on down there. Needs to break down what's this level 415. See if it does that. On this little low volume FGI. So today may be an intraday type of trading day. Where we get some opportunities, maybe some news pops, some better news pops. Says, oh, it's starting to play. Okay, they got their servers reconnected. All right, let's go see what the news is talking about today.
All right, thank you. Take care. On Thursday, a pair of fraud headlines from regional banks spooked the markets. Long-term U.S. interest rates fell below 4% for the first time since April. Lower rates are good for borrowers, but then why does that sometimes give stocks a headache? And for that matter, why do rates surging higher also give stocks a problem at times? On today's Stocks in Translation, we are going to decode the signals from the fickle bond market to tell you why stocks seem to like Goldilocks interest rates. Not too hot, not too cold, and not too volatile. Let's start out with the 10-year U.S. Treasury yield. It's Uncle Sam's interest rate for borrowing 10 years out, and it's the benchmark that guides longer-term U.S. consumer rates, like for mortgages. And it's important to remember that bond prices move opposite their yield or rate. So when investors scramble for bonds in a panic, bidding them up, that's actually moving their yields down. Here is your cheat sheet on how the bond market wags the stock market. When rates climb too high, that raises borrowing costs, which can cause consumer buying on credit to slow down. It also makes some of the companies unprofitable. But if rates drop too low, that can be a signal that investors are rushing into the safety of bonds, thinking that the economy is slowing down, a classic growth scare signal. Most importantly, it's usually not the level of interest rates that matters, it's how fast they are getting there. A quick move to the upside or the downside triggers big institutions to cut down their risk, and stocks automatically get sold. That's the feedback loop. Now, let's review events in the recent past from a volatility perspective. Here we're showing a one-month history of the VIX Volatility Index, VIX, which is calculated from stock options going out 30 days into the future on the S&P 500. This is where you see footprints of big institutions, and when it surges higher, stocks tend to sell off. Now, towards the right, you're going to see two spikes higher. The first was on October 10th, when President Trump threatened new tariffs on China. While stocks shot higher on Monday, the VIX didn't pull back that much, and it stayed elevated. So the market was primed for another shock, which we got on Thursday, October 16th. That was when two smallish regional Fed banks or regional banks disclosed an ongoing fraud investigation. Not cataclysmic, but with big investors already on alert, the VIX spiked a bit higher into the mid-20s. Now let's check out the same time frame with the bond market's volatility index, which is called the ICE B of A Move Index. Its ticker on the Yahoo Finance site is MOVE. You're going to notice similar movements in reaction to the two scares, but not as extreme as the VIX. In fact, Thursday's spike up took it to the same level as the prior Friday's. This happened as the 10-year yield dropped under 4% for the first time since April. And putting it all together, this suggests that the bond market wasn't quite as reactive as the stock market. So big institutions were not forced to mechanically dump stocks, at least in panic mode. Translation, this last week is not yet signaling any big change in economic conditions, but markets are more primed for future scares. Think of it as a ratcheting effect. So bringing it home, here's what to watch next in this saga. First, we want to watch the market's volatility gauges, the VIX for stocks and the MOVE index for bonds. Are they cooling off or are they staying elevated? Are they ratcheting up or are they ratcheting down? Then you want to watch the US 10-year yield. We already climbed back over 4%, which suggests that the scare over bank fraud was a little bit overdone. But remember that volatility is more important than the actual levels. Then, be on alert for any more negative credit headlines, whether bank fraud or simply consumers defaulting more on auto loans or mortgages. Surprises ratchet up tensions, which weigh on stocks. And finally, listen to what Fed officials say. They tend to be very careful and measure their words. But if the read-through is growth scare as opposed to soft landing, markets are going to get jittery. Bottom line, as long as things don't move too quickly, the risk rally with stocks pushing up against all-time highs should continue, but there is a breaking point, and that's what we're trying to gauge. And tune in to the Stocks in Translation podcast for more jargon-busting deep dives. New episodes can be found Tuesdays and Thursdays on Yahoo Finance's website or wherever you find your podcast.
Okay.
And so, Jay, do you think that U.S. investors should already be buying Chinese tech stocks in particular?
Oh, yeah. We've talked about it before, Julie. Yeah. China tech has been dominant performance-wise versus the U.S. for several years. This is one of the best-kept secrets on Wall Street. KWEB, the China tech ETF, is up close to 40% year to date versus the Q's up less than 20. They now dominate the China tech space, which is much bigger than the U.S. tech space, growing much faster than the U.S. and trading at a third to a half discount in terms of valuation. So yes, we have been and are and continue to be overweight Chinese equities within our global multi-asset model. We expect to continue to be that way. And as I said, I think the opportunity, the potential is really twofold. First, that there's a rapprochement and Trump signals that it's okay to buy Chinese equities. Second, and perhaps more importantly, is what China is doing to fight deflation in its own country, in its own economy. And we think they will have success in that fight. It's one of the reasons why we're bullish global growth for next year. And in so doing, better inflation means higher corporate earnings, which means greater multiples, higher stock prices, and et cetera, et cetera.
We'll see. We'll see what Chinese stocks, if they end up popping up or whatnot. We'll see. Just keeping it all in mind, taking it all in.
Big food feeling the pressure as consumers push back on higher prices, forcing names in the space to roll back price hikes. We're navigating how to play the sector with the Yahoo Finance playbook. And joining me now is Robert Moscow, Managing Director at TD Cowen. Robert, it's good to see you. So one trend that's interesting, Robert, in your universe, these food companies, years of price hikes, Robert, and now we do see some recalibration there. Just talk to us about that trend, Robert, and where you think we are in sort of the adjustment cycle there.
Give us 1 second. And Andre just called out ILBT here. Let me go pop over there. ILBT. Let's see. ILBT up 39% with 13 million shares in volume. 91 cents here. And maybe be an intraday something. Let's go look at the daily chart here. Maximize sales size. Okay. So let's see. it closed at 65 cents. It has this huge gap that is playing within here. It's almost to the middle of this gap. So a huge little chunk here. It closed with a ATR of, I don't even know the ATR on this one. It's probably very low if it's in a penny stock. But yeah, it looks kind of, what's the, it says IO Biotech presents phase 3 results for Xylem Bio in first line advanced melanoma. So this is the second time we've seen something about cancer today, but we just don't know what the actual topic on the day is. Keep seeing cancer though, so I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and finish this one.
Well, I totally agree. There has been recalibration. Some companies more than others. General Mills is probably rolling back prices 3 to 4%. I think more companies are going to have to do this. Like Frito-Lay in salty snacks probably hasn't done it enough to re-engage consumers. So, and it's not an easy road either. When you lower your prices, you don't necessarily get the snapback in volume that you would expect. So these food companies are kind of in between a rock and a hard place. They want to improve affordability, knowing that the volume is not going to come back all at once. But I think it's really important to do it in order to foster a better value proposition for consumers going forward.
Against that backdrop, Robert, are there certain names that you cover that you think, okay, these names are relatively well positioned to win back volume, but not negatively impact margins?
Yeah, I have a buy on McCormick. It's the leader in spice and seasonings here in the U.S., leader in flavorings, also globally. The stock hasn't really worked this year, and I think part of the issue is tariffs. Tariffs are up, probably hitting their P&L by $120 million this year. They've been very, very careful not to raise prices too high and ruin their value proposition by trying to price all of this inflation right away. But as a result, and volumes are positive as a result. I think heading into next year, though, there might be some latent pricing power on this business. They've got they're in categories where consumers really need spice and seasonings. They're shopping more in the perimeter of the store, more fresh food. They're creating their own recipes. They're trying to save money and they're trying to eat healthier. And frankly, I think consumers don't really remember what they paid for like a vial of oregano from 1 month to another. So I think there's some latent pricing power here. If they're able to untap it, I think there's positive revisions to earnings estimates.
There was news today, Robert, I wanted you to take on as well. I'm sure you saw this headline. Nestle slashing 16,000 jobs. I know you don't cover that name. I am just curious, though, Robert, do you think is that another trend to watch in your space?
I think it's already happening to some degree. We're seeing restructuring programs go into place. I've seen it at Procter & Gamble. I've seen it at Colgate, and a little bit at General Mills as well. And I think even at PepsiCo as well. So I think that all depends on the degree to which companies need to scale back their organizations in sync with the volume fall off, and some are going to be some are better positioned than others.
Robert, we're always looking for lines of sight into the consumer. I'm curious, based on your coverage universe, what you're seeing and hearing, how does the consumer look to you?
Challenged. There's a lot of value-seeking behavior across the grocery store. I think the biggest surprise is, you'd expect when the consumer's challenged that they might eat out less and eat at home more. That's happening to some degree, but the overall grocery sales are only up 2%. So it's not a windfall for vendors to the grocery store. I think also within processed foods, there's increased distrust of just processed foods in general because of the Make America Healthy Again initiative and other factors. So I think it's a very difficult playing field for processed foods companies right now.
All right, you mentioned the MAHA trend. There's another trend too, Robert, the GLP-1s. The companies you cover, How have they been adapting their portfolios, adjusting to those new medicines?
Well, in snacking, I think it's a little difficult because some of these snacking categories are incrementally more impacted by GLP-1s than the other just conventional food, and that's because consumption is expandable. So if you're snacking 4 or 5 times a day, kind of mindlessly, and you're on GLP-1s, you're going to snack probably 4 or 5 times less per day. Whereas conventional meals, lunch, breakfast and dinner, you'll probably continue to do that. So the snacking companies are working on portion sizes. The meal-based companies are trying to develop more protein-based solutions, solutions that are targeted directly to what GLP users are looking for. Frankly, the snacking companies are trying to do it as well. I think it's going to be more difficult for the snacking companies to adjust than for mealtime companies.
All right. So let's jump back over here. SINT continued to grind on down. Let's look at those two call outs. REPL was a call out by Andre, and then we got a call out of IOBT by Andre as well. So this one forming what looks like some type of double top here around the $9. We saw a little bit of, let's see, so this was a high here, and it had a outlier right there. And now this one went up to $9. Almost a double top there, I guess. This one actually looks a little bit higher than that. Let me see. Nope, they're exactly the same at $9. So coming back up there and trying to see how it's going to hold up this 805. It's got 33 million shares traded. Had a previous level here, and we'll see how fast it gets back under 830s. The other one that was called out was IOBT. Went up there and hit $1, came back down to the point of control at 85 cents. Yo, Ivani Vargas, what's up? What's up? FGI. All right. So for the low floats, we're kind of just in a sit and wait. Let me look at is there any speakers today? Today is the 20th. Let's see. No speakers today. Tomorrow we have Waller with opening remarks at the Payments Innovation Conference, Washington, D.C. Actually, we do have a couple speakers this week. Okay, so Waller. Then we got Barr, Financial Inclusion. Then we have Bout Bowman, hearing on oversight of financial regulators before the U.S. Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. So some pretty big hitters this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I guess Thursday will be a little bit more juicy. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right. We shall see how that goes. All I need to do is just, on the days that it's just only takes about one day out of the month for me to just give up on rules and just hold and hope. And, those are the days that really kill me on the month. And for this month, it was the first day of the month that killed me. Now, I did make that money back, but I'm like, man, if I would have not done that, I would have been in a much better situation right now. Much better situation right now. So over here on my trading journal, I know I showed this before, but for you new folks that are coming in, so this is what the trades have been looking like. Sitting around this month, 40% win rate. So the goal has been to get 30 cents per trade, right? Some of them have worked out. Some of them have worked out really well. Like Friday on VHC, I got $1.90 97 cents per share. So yeah, looking for that 30%, that 30 cents though. And this trading journal that I'm using is TraderSync. There's links in the description and things like that if you want to check it out. They have free trials and all that. But this is why I'm saying Wednesdays have been killing me. The first day of the month, down $369. Insanity. Then the next day, you know, $479, so made it back. But just should not have happened. I should have just cut it. And I think this one I lost like $1 and something per share when I should have just cut it at 30 cents. If I'm going to be aiming at 30 cents, you know, just risk 30 cents. If it loses that, get on out. And that's what I kind of followed on these Wednesdays. Get on out at that 30-cent mark. But everything else has been okay. So just making our way up a little bit. A little bit. REPL back up there towards the 9. Is this a triple top or is it going to go ahead and push through this? To break down, it's going to need to get back under 880. Looks like it wants to push through. Yep, there's 902, a small little 2-cent breakout there. Insanity, but this is a higher float and that's how they do. They'll kill you on the breakouts, kill you on the drop downs, and you just kind of play the range. 2-cent breakout is crazy. So 902 dropping down to 885. That's insane. And then look at that pop up. Look at that pop back up. Wow. Stops everybody out down here towards this 8 whatever, then right back up to the top. $9. I don't like this type of movement. This type of movement makes my heart murmur. All right. It is what it is. I see a couple other ones. Let's go look at these. So FGI, AZTR of 28%, Spark, SPRC. And these look like they have a little bit of catalyst. So let me read through AZTR, what you got. So it says at 780 or 702, they announced a positive preclinical data for AZTR. We've seen a couple of cancer type stocks. This one isn't cancer. This is some kind of vulgaris. Okay, so but it's a biotech. 91 cents. Then we got Spark out here. What's your news? SciSpark ClearMind collaboration leads to publication of U.S. patent application targeting binge behavior disorders. ClearMind Medicine announces publication of U.S. patent application targeting binge. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So it's 7:10 right now. I think today is going to be a nice little intraday. Just got to wait for it because pre-market has not shown me what I'm looking for. FGI was leading the day. I went and researched that and it's furnishings and fixtures and appliances. So yeah, don't really care about that. And then AZTR bio type came up here to 112. And now it's looking like the most bullish low flow, but it is a cheaper one. So could get choppy at 94 cents. Andre says REPL bounce. Let me see. Where'd it go? Got through 9, went up to 922. So that invalidates all of this. Let's remove this. Look for new structure here. 922 all the way back down to 9. So at this point, no real structure yet. Bounced up and bounced right back down. So it's a secondary trap. So it got them the first time with the small breakout of 902 and then ripped down and then again. So that's 2 times punishing longs. They're going to stop trusting this thing just like me. But instead of being in this and trusting it, I know that it doesn't meet my criteria. So I'm like, no. You know, heavy is heavy on the shares outstanding, heavy on all of that. And look at this. Look at this. This is short and long punishment. AZTR, what you doing over here? 41% up. 7 million shares traded. Spark back under 20%. AZTR again forming an outlier out here. So let's see, 112 was the top. It's got like 96 cents here. But with these cheap ones, it's just so hard to trust what it's putting up because of what the wicks can do. REPL continue to find resistance at that $9 level. Point of control at 882 continues to move around. See you back under 9. Ten seconds left. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's a little bit of structure. I have to wait on it. We'll see if it stays under this and continues to move down. Let's look back over to AZTR. Got away from $1 a little bit. ILBT continued to grind down. So remove that one. REPL again challenging this upper level, but super choppy. No, there's gonna be something on the day. Just gotta wait. Just gotta wait. And if there's not, it's okay. I don't want to be so in anticipation mode that I go and dig for something, but I want to be ready. If something meets the criteria, I can do my due diligence on it, find structure, and attack it. And there, I mean, for the most part, there's opportunity for almost every strategy in the market. You just have to find it and make sure that you're not the only one looking at it. You know what I mean? Like, if there's no volume, but you see your strategy, it's like, okay, well, is anybody really using your strategy here? If you see it setting up. But if it does have volume, it's like, okay, there are people here with me. Maybe other believers in our congregation. Yeah, REPL, I don't know if this is going to be able to do anything else. It did make a new high out here, 922s. It's just kind of grinding. I really am scared to see what it's going to do at the open. I smell a drop, but we'll see. Now, the previous note that I had on it, it did have a class action lawsuit for fraud on securities back in November 22nd. 2024, and so it had 2 fraud lawsuits on it. One in November 2022 22nd, 2024, and then one in July 21st, 2025. So definitely be careful on that if you're going to try to, put your money into something today. AZTR coming back up to $1. 44 cents up. It has 10 million shares traded. It is the leading low float mover, which is scary because it's barely scratching $1. Let's go look at the daily chart on this one. Daily chart closed at 68 cents down here. At the top side, 76, 79, and now it's trading somewhere around here. Not a whole lot of obvious peaks or anything, just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So I'll be careful there. Is that structure, is it going to continue going up and get it back above the 107s? 12 million shares traded on it. Okay. Okay, throwing some little wicks up there. Are you going to break this point up here, or are you going to let it live? Broke that point, 112 up there. So that almost invalidates this. We'll see how it holds above this level of the 103s, $1. Broke out, so that invalidates that. Remove, we'll wait for new structure. 113 up there was the high. Bodies of these counts was around 106, 105-ish level. So we'll see what it wants to do here. Up 58%, and now it's the most bullish looking small low float that we got. Value level moving on up. Point of control is down here at 94 cents. Let me go ahead and draw that in. So 94 down to 91 is its points of control across the 5, the 15, and the 1 minute. So 94, 91. Let's see how it holds against this level. Okay. Reached up here and we look for new support. So another small breakout. This one went from 113 up to 114, a 1 cent breakout. 16 million shares traded on it. Another 1 cent breakout. A lot of trading happening up here. 17 million. Of course, everybody's going to wait for the dip. That's going to be a long buyer. And then those sellers are playing around up here. They're thinking it's going to go back down, but we'll see if it sets up. See if we can find a new structure. REPL just continued to play in the same range. And this is what I don't like about high floats during pre-market. They're just like, they just, That's how they move, and that's why they don't show up on my scanner. I like to, during pre-market, I like to make some money, not donate. Come out here and make a Monday morning donation. All right. So it's got a top up here, but still, this is a little too steep to mark this up just yet. But I still like to go through the process of what I'm looking for on a higher price stock, how I mark it up, how I'm looking at the points of control, because it's the same idea. It's just less trust on these cheaper ones. Okay, you look like you want to break out. You know, 1 cent breakout again, 2 cent maybe. Nope, 1 cent. Yeah, these 1 cent breakouts, man, I know they're killing people. 20 million, well, almost 20 million shares on this one traded. Looks like a double top there at 118. Taking a little breather, little 5 cent breather here. Bottom side is 110. Let's see if it goes down faster than it came up. See this volume coming in. It should drag the point of control up here a little bit. Yep, there's point of control popping up there. So we remember where the previous point of control is. And then we look for the other points of control to kind of align with each other. So right now on the 5 is 104. On the 15 it's 95 cents. And then on the 1 minute it is 111. So kind of a wide spread back down to the 95 cents. So I'm not going to mark one up yet until it gets tight up here. If it gets tight up here. Basically, all the point of control is doing is it does what you have when you have the volume on the down on the bottom side, except it puts the volume on the specific price that's being traded, right? So you can see, you know, it'll be this, but just sideways, and you wouldn't know what price is being traded at that point later on in the day. But with this, you can see, you can come in here later on in the day and look at this and be like, okay, there was heavy price action at this price, heavy price action at this price. It just works a little bit better to see it on a scale like that. For me. Absolutely not. On AZTR, this is death. All of my trades have been above $5. All I'm doing is going through the mental process of what I would be doing on a higher price stock. Looking for the structure, finding those high areas of trading and doing things like that. But here, 1 cent breakouts, you know, and these nice little tumbles down, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. Two things. These cheaper ones, to make money, you have to oversize on them, right? Like it's $1 stock. You gotta oversize on. You gotta take 400, 500, 1,000, 2,000 shares. You got to make money on them. With the higher price ones, you don't. I can take 10 shares and make everything I need on 10 shares, maybe even 5. But like I said, these cheaper ones, you can't really trust them. Look how far it has to go back down to this level, but it's popped up here. And let's see if this is this looks like another outlier here. So it's going to be 118, and we're going to see if it continues to downtrend. The bottom side of this is 105. Came down here, struck through the point of control. We'll give it a second. It's got 23 million shares traded on it. Let's watch this close. Got 15 seconds left. And that's our outlier for, whoops, wrong drawing. Wrong drawing. Oop, just like that. So we got one outlier. Let's see how that holds, if it's going to hold. Popping up there, popping through it. Absolutely dissolve that. So that structure is almost invalid. It's got to close a candle above this level first. See, there was no retest. This thing was just pulled back a little bit straight up. 25 million shares traded on it. And the breakout was 118 up to 123. So maybe a 5-cent breakout. Could I get my 30 cents on this? Absolutely not. Not in good conscience. All right, big boy, you got a new high. You need to close above this level here of the 115. Okay, so close above that level. Got a new high here. So this pop out was 3 cent, a 3-cent pop out there. The other thing I have to take in consideration is I'm trading with a free broker, right? And having to take very small cent gains like 1 cent, 2 cent, 3 cents, you need direct access to be taken that quickly. A lot of times you get horrible feels on TOS on things that moves like this. I mean, horrible, like to die for. Like you do not want to do it. So I leave this to the folks that want to pay for their platform. Up there to the high. Still got this level down here, 114. So now that these are points of control is 110 down to the 97 cents. So 97 is all the way down here. Needs to tighten up even more. Right. So we got a hangman up there. And that's a signal that it's going to turn around here. Bottom side of this is 120. So we'll see if it actually booms down through here after this hangman. It came down a little bit, but again, just like with the upside, very small breakdown, 20 down to not even a cent, really. $30 million shares traded on this. Yeah, there's no chase on this one. 30 million shares traded. Yeah, it's got to find some more structure for me. And because this right here, this structure is quite steep. If you go here, it's super steep. If you go here, it's super steep. I mean, all of the, I kind of look at the overall structure, and think about gravity. How steep is this and what kind of move down could this create? So coming on down there, right back to these levels. Right back down to that 110 point of control. Exactly, One Life. It's just like, it's not really worth it, but it's the thing that's receiving volume. So I want to keep my eyes here to keep my eyes off of other trash. Because I know here I could say no all day. I could be like, nope, nope, don't like you. You're ugly, girl. You gotta, nope, you may be a man. You know? But anyway, we'll see. Something more beautiful pops up with a lot of volume. It's gonna be crazy. But it's gonna be in direct competition to this one. That's the only other thing. And this one opened up under let's see. So it closed yesterday under 75 cents. So it's also gonna have those tight halt levels like we saw on the other ones that opened up under 75 cents. So that's another thing we got to keep in mind. Even if it does, you can get absolutely clapped up just because the halts being all over the place. So a breakdown of this level will be back under maybe like $1, so about a 15-cent fall here. I don't know. I think I would wait for it to fail. I mean, wait. Before I say that, I wouldn't wait for it to fail. I wouldn't trade this at all. Then I would wait for something else to be better. I was like, I would wait for it to fail. No. I would wait for it to fail if it was a higher price. If I had a whole dollar level like this, like $8 or $7 down here, and it broke it down, then came back through, I'd be all about that life. Because a lot of times, you know, when there are other people in here watching, of course, we have discussions in the Discord about these stocks and what they're doing and what kind of moves we think they'll go to and all of that. But sometimes when we have like visitors in the YouTube channel, we have to make sure that we clarify, look, this is not something I would trade. Not. But for the setup that it has, if this was a higher price stock that met criteria, that's how I would play it. Let it break down and swing back through. So we're not saying, you know, I'm just going to let it break through and buy. No, this thing is meeting about 0% of the criteria. I put the disclaimer up earlier, but maybe I need to put it back up. Just to keep people out of, you know, the basin. CEH Life says Beyond looks good. Let's go look at Beyond. Does it look? Did I type that right? Beyond. Let's see. Beyond. Looks like 114. Man, this thing is stupidly thickly traded. Oh my goodness. 145 million shares traded. Look at the range. All right, so let's look at this. 90 cents up to $1.24, right? This thing is so heavily traded. Let's go look it up. Let me see. Duplicate this. BYND. This thing is so BY. All right. Well, looks like AWS servers are back out. It says the AWS servers is actually in the news. It says it's sparking a global whatever. I'll go back and look at it in just a minute. Give me 1 second. Profile on Beyond Meat. We're looking at Beyond Meat Inc., a plant-based meat company, engages in development, manufacturing, and marketing of sale of plant-based meat products under the Beyond brand name in the United States and internationally. The company sells a large range of plant-based meat products that replicates beef, pork, poultry meats. It sells its products through grocery, mass merchandiser, club stores, and natural retail channels, as well as various food away from home channels, including restaurants, food service outlets, and schools. The company was formerly known as Savage River Inc. And changed its name to Beyond Meat in September 2018. The company is incorporated in 2008 and is headquartered in El Segundo, California. The second California. Let's see. So that's cool, but it is definitely thickly traded. I don't know about that would be a day trade. I mean, and this is why I don't dig for trades. You know, if they're like, I'm like, let it show that it wants to start getting up and things like that. It's up 59%, but if we look at the shares outstanding, let's go look at that. Did I just close that? Let's look at their shares outstanding real quick and see how this float's looking. Is this float a deadly float for pre-market? Beyond. Because it looks like it is a daily float for pre-market. There's our news. Amazon Web Services outage sparks global issues. Trump lists China. I guarantee he blamed China for that AWS downage. What would just Beyond? I guarantee you that was the first tweet. He just woke up. AWS is down. China. It's China's fault. All right, let me jump over here to the profile. And we're seeing, I mean, not profile, statistics. And we are seeing that it has float of 63.25 million. Shares outstanding, you know, insiders, institutions, higher float. So maybe during intraday it'll be doing something. Maybe it'll grind higher or whatnot. But let's go look at a daily chart too. Daily chart closed at 64 cents. Has this big gap here that it could get into. This gap goes from 111 up to 193. High daily gap. Low daily gap. Lower daily gap. All right, so we got the high and the low gaps in there, and it has this big wall here at 113. So we got the high and the low. Let me put in here higher. Right there. So definitely got a big struggle point right here at the 111s for you. Anyway, AZRT continue to fade off. So we got a little bit of structure going here. We had an outlier here at 126. And we can paint a better picture here now. It broke down both of these kind of steep trends that it had up here. So it broke this one down, erase that. And this one it also broke down, but I'm not sure it's done with this. So I'll leave it there. You got in at 104 on Beyond. Y'all build different, man. GNLN coming up here. 5 million shares traded on Green Lane Holdings. Green Lane Holdings, a little bit higher priced, a little bit more of my speed there. So let's go look at the catalyst and all of that on Green Lane Holdings. It says Green Lane Holdings Inc. announces a 110 million private placement to initiate bearer chain crypto. So this is a crypto move. All right, so we got a little bit of structure here through here. And yeah, let's go look at the daily chart over here for bearer chain. Closed at 384. Kind of out in the middle of nowhere. We had 533 is where it's trying to hold right now. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, clear our drawing set so we can get a clear access to this. 533 was a previous peak point. So we'll put in edit peak level. So this is going to be a peak daily level at the 533s. Okay. It's got 5 million shares traded. The next peak daily level, I wanted to stay above 5 for sure, but had a previous level up there at the 751s. We'll go ahead and continue to read into this. So we will edit this next peak daily level. Okay. Bang, bang, bang. So it's got a little, it's got 2 peak levels, and it's kind of just from 536 up to 748. We'll see. But we need to take into account the structure as well. So structure here. We got some structure around here into a downtrend. This right here is kind of steep. A little steep there. So kind of probably got to wait for that. All right, so we will be watching that one for sure. Let's go look into what GN, LN, the float, and all of that good stuff. Let's wait for things to hit the scan, man. It's there. Things that meet that price and range and all that good stuff. Let's see what we got. So it says for the profile, Green Lane Holdings Inc. engages in the developing and distribution of cannabis accessories, vape devices, and lifestyle products in the United States, Canada, Europe, and Latin America. The company offers vaporizers, pipes, rolling papers, and packaging grinders, other inhalation devices, storage solutions, and apparel lines. It offers its products under the Groove Eek, I don't even know, Da Vinci, Higher Standards, Pollen Gear, Marley Natural Stores, all these names, okay? The company also operates e-commerce platforms such as Vapor.com, Wholesale Green Lane, blah, 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 all this. It serves cannabis producers, processors, brands, retailers, smoke shops, head shops, convenience stores, consumers, and cannabis dispensaries through its proprietary web stores, wholesale operations, distributor centers, and online marketplaces such as Amazon, Etsy, eBay. The company was founded in 2005 and based in Boca Raton, Florida. All right, so that's a cannabis player there. So let's go ahead and mark that up. Cannabis player, can I mark it up? Or maybe not. Okay, I can do that, but wait a minute. It's stuck. Let me go. Okay. So erase that and go over here and drop a text. This is a cannabis player. It was founded in 2005 out of Florida. Okay, and I want to see what crypto they're actually trying to get into here. So they said they did a private 110 million private placement for a crypto. Let's see what crypto. Berachain digital assets. So let's go look up Berachain and see what they're looking like right now. Crypto. I know I had opened okay, there it is, trader view. All right, so Berachain. This it? Yeah, Berachain. Oh, okay. So they're putting this is Berachain. This is why it's always good to come and look at the crypto that you're planning on getting into. Kind of see what their project is. Let me look up their project as well to see what Berachain's project is. So okay, Berachain is a next generation layer 1 blockchain project that aims to revolutionize decentralized finance through a novel consensus mechanism and a unique token economy. Here's a breakdown of what the project entails. Okay, so what is Bearchain? Bearchain is a high-performance EVM identical blockchain built using Cosmos and a custom consensus framework called Beacon Kit. It is fully compatible with Ethereum, meaning developers can deploy Ethereum smart contracts on Bearchain without modification. It is a proof of liquidity. So unlike traditional blockchains that use proof of stake or proof of work, Bearchain introduces proof of liquidity. Here's how it works: validators stake liquidity stake with the oh my goodness. Validators stake LP tokens, which are liquidity provider tokens, instead of idle coins. These LP tokens remain active in DeFi protocols, earning fees while also securing the network. This creates a feedback loop between liquidity provision and network security, aligning incentives across users and developers and validators. Let's see. So what are they doing? Their goals, they want to redefine DeFi, making capital more efficient, support developers, okay, foster a culture, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what are they doing to actually increase investor? What are they doing to increase investor, what do you call it? Investor interest. And what else? What are they doing to increase investor interest? And do they have any partnerships? Do they have any partnerships with larger companies? Is what we want to know. All right, Bearchain is actively working to increase investor interest and expand its ecosystem through a combination of strategic partnerships, institutional integrations, and global expansion initiatives. Here's a detailed look. Okay, so they have high yield staking opportunities. Okay, so it says Bearchain's proof of liquidity V2 upgrade redirects 33% of protocol emissions to stakers, enabling direct yield generation through token buybacks. Platforms like Binance now offer bearers staking with API or APYs exceeding 18%, making it attractive to yield-seeking investors. Treasury strategy with public companies. Greenlane Holdings announced 110 million private placement to acquire bearer tokens and make them the company's primary treasury reserve asset. Okay, so institutional grade partnerships. Google Cloud is running a validator node on Bearchain and offering BigQuery access and $200,000 in credits to ecosystem startups. Layer 0 is Bearchain's canonical omni-chain bridge provider, enhancing cross-chain liquidity and interoperability. Strategic capital raises. Okay, so basically they're all talking about what was just put out, the whole 110 placement, whatever. So it partnered with Google Cloud, Layer 0, Sky, which is another DAO, Greenland Holdings, and Infrared Finance. Okay. Says global expansion. So they are targeting Hong Kong, Singapore, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Africa to tap into emerging markets and broaden user adoption. So this doesn't seem like it's US based because they're targeting Hong Kong primarily and Singapore, then Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Africa. So I would be very careful on that noise. Let's go ahead and jump back over here to Greenland Holdings here. So it did end up diving down there. I don't know about this. That's some weird. Let me put in there. They are targeting Hong Kong and Asian countries first. So target Asian cities, or cities, or I don't know, Asian country. I don't know, whatever places. it is what it is. I just put that target Asian places first. And let me activate, move that up here so I can see it. It did end up fading off there under $5. It's only up 28 or 21% now. AZRT is another one that we had kind of like a steep incline. I was like, man, that's kind of steep. It held for a little bit and crashed down back to this level that we had looked at before. This was a highly traded level down here that it's returning to. So yeah, that happened. FGI still looking trash. So at this point, I'm just sitting on my hands, looking for actual structure to build on something that can hold up $5, and has the range to pay 30 cents easily. So we avoided a lot of traps by keeping our eyes on, eyes on the prize, looking in, doing our due diligence on these things that are up and not getting cooked. But I have 8 minutes until my morning meeting, so I'm about to get ready to shut it down. And I will be in the Discord. I'll let you guys know what I see on the scans if anything pops up. And we will be back live streaming tomorrow morning for pre-market trading. So for today, be safe, keep your head on the swivel. The day hasn't even started for me. I'm just waiting for something that meets the criteria and has a good, pretty good topic, pretty good idea behind it. But yeah, just keep my head on the swivel this morning. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Appreciate you for tuning in. And we'll be back tomorrow. Peace.